The situation with North Korea is complex, not just for the United States, but for many countries in Asia. We have three reports for you tonight. The first one is from Eunice Yoon in Xiamen, where North Korea's nuclear test was casting a shadow over an important summit of global leaders.
The five nations that make up the BRICS have wrapped up their three-day summit with a communique that includes a condemnation of North Korea's nuclear test. In the Xiamen Declaration, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa jointly said they deplored the test and hoped it would be resolved through peaceful means and dialogue. During the summit, China's President Xi Jinping addressed some of the geopolitical tensions in the region, including North Korea. He and Russia's President Vladimir Putin agreed to appropriately deal with Pyongyang over its nuclear test. President Xi also met with India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the hopes of smoothing over a months-long conflict over territory in the Himalayas. President Xi has been using this forum as a way to showcase China's growing leadership role in the developing world and to burnish his own image as a champion of globalization, in contrast to President Trump's America First agenda. At the conference, President Xi emphasized the need to ward off rising protectionism and embrace multilateral trading systems. He also said BRICS nations, which comprise of about 40% of the world's population, should tighten economic ties and increase the voice of all emerging economies as a way to usher in what he described as a new golden decade for the BRICS. For Nightly Business Report, I'm Eunice Yoon in Xiamen.
Amid the nuclear tensions, there are questions about a new arms deal between the U.S. and South Korea. Sherry Kang is in Seoul.
The Trump administration says that there could be an arms deal with South Korea that's worth billions of dollars, but Seoul says not that we know of. South Korea's presidential office has disputed the White House press release that said President Trump has given a conceptual approval for this deal, saying that it understood it to be Washington's expression of support for South Korea's national defense. But one thing both countries were able to confirm is the two leaders' agreement to throw out the restrictions on South Korea's missile payload capabilities as South Korea is trying to beef up its national defense in the face of all these missile tests, as well as the latest nuclear test by North Korea. In the meantime, though, North Korea may be keeping at it. South Korean officials say there are signs that the regime could be getting ready for yet another ballistic missile launch. For Nightly Business Report, I'm Sherry Kang in Seoul.
Akiko Fujita is in Tokyo tonight with the reaction to North Korea's nuclear test.
Speaking to reporters today, Defense Minister Itsunori Onodera said this latest test from North Korea was significantly larger than initial Japanese government estimates. Upon further review, Onodera said he believed the size of the explosion was 120 kiloton. That's roughly 8 times the size of the nuclear bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima. Now, considering the size of this explosion, the minister said the Japanese government now believe there is a strong possibility this was, in fact, a hydrogen bomb. We did hear from Prime Minister Shinzo Abe today, warning of further provocations, saying the Japanese needed to remain vigilant, and reiterated the government was doing everything they can to keep the Japanese citizens safe. And the Nikkei Daily here raised some eyebrows with a headline that suggested the government had begun drawing up plans for evacuating roughly 60,000 Japanese citizens over on the Korean Peninsula in case of an all-out war. Now, these are plans the government has been considering since April amid constant provocations from North Korea. According to the Nikkei, the evacuation would include finding shelters for the Japanese as well as limiting travel to the peninsula. For Nightly Business Report, Akiko Fujita, Tokyo.